Hello, everyone. I don't know about you, but that music just totally pumps me up and gets me so excited. I don't know if it's like a pregame anthem, but in the chat, I would love to hear if that music and that video pumps you up. I get so excited about gardening, seeing spring right around the corner. I'm in Southeast Missouri right now, and it's kind of a rainy, cold day, a little bit dreary. But hey, welcome to the second session of the day, our noon session, which is our sponsor segment. And today's sponsor is Earth Medicine. And so, in just a little bit, we're going to bring the owner and founder and his daughter on, Dan and Leah, and they're going to be explaining exactly what Earth Medicine is. And we're really looking forward to it. But as many of you know and have already seen in the chat, you're putting in wind, you're putting in bugs, you're putting in soil, because we're about to do a giveaway. Today's giveaway right now is going to be Insectanet. For those of you who don't know what Insectanet is, well, you're in for a treat. It is an organic physical barrier to protect your crops from insects. And so we're going to be selling that in the Seed Time store. I want to show you exactly what this product looks like. It is by Modern Grower. And the way you use this product is you use it to put a physical barrier between insects and your crops. You're going to want to learn a little bit about the tech specs of it, but it's a high value ticket item. It is a $90 net, and it's you're going to be getting the narrow roll, 83 inches wide by 120 inches long. So if you are a small gardener, you might want to consider cutting that net and covering multiple raised beds or sharing with your friends. But this is a really, really cool giveaway. So in the chat, please type in bugs, B-U-G-S, bugs. And we're going to be doing this drawing in just a second. So type in bugs, 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 not Insectanet, Insectanet, Insectanet. There we go. We've got people typing in bugs. We're doing it here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our giveaway screen, and we're going to run it here. Bugs, start collecting. We've only got a few entries on here. Is it going? Am I in the right spot? I'm only seeing one entry of bugs. Something must be wrong with my giveaway tool. Let me double check here. Why are we getting no giveaways? Live stream, reset, bugs, start collection. Okay, now we've got a ton. I'm going to share my screen. It had to refresh that. Sorry about the little hiccup there. Here we go. Got a lot of entries coming in. I'm going to go ahead and hit the draw. Going. And congratulations, Courtney C. Courtney C won a narrow roll of Insectanet. Totally cool. Courtney C, congratulations. Excited for you in that. So as many of you know, we do have Earth Medicine coming on, and I want to go ahead and just show their commercial before we go live, and I invite them on. Earth Medicine's commercial right here. You got to check out what we're going to be talking about in this session. So here is the ad from Earth Medicine. And welcoming to the stage, we've got Dan Prefontaine and Leah. Let's have you say it. Vaheri. Nailed it. Nailed it. Awesome. Well, Dan and
Yes.
Leah, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us your story about earth medicine. I'm going to let you take it away from here. And whenever you want your slides, I'll bring it up. So the floor is yours.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. So I'm Leah, and this is my dad, Dan Prefontaine. He is the creator of Earth Medicine, the inventor. Thank you so much, Luke and Paul and Edwin, for having us. We're excited to talk with all of you today and to chat with you a little bit about traditional fertilizers versus soil amending fertilizers like ours. Luke, if you could bring up our slides, that would be awesome, and we'll just kind of jump right into it. So for this session, we're going to be talking about bringing your soil back to life, which is typically the missing link in most fertilizers. And so I will just kind of go over a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into that, I just want to let you guys all know, as you saw in the commercial, if you head over to the Seed Time store, which I believe there is a link available for you guys, our fertilizer is available to purchase there. It comes in 5 and 7 pound bags. And during, the session today, you're going to get an additional 10% off and free shipping. So make sure you head over there while supplies last. We are so excited to get our product into more of your guys' hands. And so today we're going to be chatting just some agenda items, the problem with conventional fertilizers, why traditional fertilizers typically fall short, the power of beneficial microbes and soil health just in general. And then we're going to link it to earth medicine and how our product restores the soil biology. And then we're also going to go over the benefits of earth medicine and how to use it and when to use it in your own gardening operation. But before we get into that, let's hear from Dan, who is actually the inventor and creator of earth medicine.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm excited to give a little talk on it. And my focus today is on what is earth medicine. Why is it different? It's a product you've never seen, you've never heard of it, because as far as I can tell from 5 years of research, there's just nothing out there like it. Nobody's figured out how to make this product. I've been at it for 10 years. I perfected it in the last 4 to 5 years. And I've found the magic combination. And so I'll just talk about that a little bit. So what we're in southern Idaho, and we're blessed with or cursed with mega dairies to the tunes of hundreds of thousands of cows in our area. And so natural byproduct of that is cow manure, dairy manure. And so I've been in the business for 20 some years just making compost, but found that good quality compost, you can make it. Everybody's heard about it. Everybody knows how to make it, or certainly have the resources available to them to find how to make good compost. But the problem is twofold. One is the volume, how much compost it takes physically to make it, to store it, and then to spread it. It's all hard work. And I just got tired of that. And I said, I'm going to get this stuff down to a small pellet, the size of your average fertilizer pellet. And so it fits on any kind of application unit that's available commercially, and at rates that are more in tune with commercial fertilizer type application. So I'll start, first of all, I'll go back to the raw product from the dairy. We put that in windrows. The windrows are, anywhere from 100 to 1,000 feet long, 16 feet wide, 8 feet high, and we manage that. We get the biology working as best we can. We get everything. We monitor the water, the soil, or the compost. What am I trying to say here? The compost, how much air is in there? The air in the compost. Okay, so the bacteria has all of those ingredients. The compost has all of those ingredients in it, and the bacteria multiplies. So we get that to the maximum amount. And some of these bacteria that we're working with are really aggressive at digesting tough, fibrous organic matter that's in the dairy manure. And so just think of that as a starting point for what we've got. Now I take that and I cordon off a bunch. I've made a what's called an earth medicine chamber. It holds about 16,000 pounds of this product. We fill it right to the brim. And that chamber has steam nozzles in it, vapor nozzles, water misters. It has internal heat. It has external heat. And it's on a rotating rheostat, a drum that we can vary the speed from 1 RPM all the way up to 40 RPM. And so we fill it up. We start the thing on, say, Monday morning. And we run it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And during that time, I figured out basically the parameters that the bacteria needs to multiply again, multiply. And as it keeps going, it's digesting all of the organic matter that's not digested within the compost, which is a high percentage of it. And it eats that, multiplies, and utilizes that feed to get smaller until you get a small tiny ball like you see on our picture. That tiny sphere is actually protected by the biofilm made by the bacteria multiplying. And so it's hard as a rock. Like it truly, you cannot crush it with your hand. If you drop it on a concrete floor or on hard floor, you cannot step on it. You'll slide right out from under you. So that's how hard it is. Yet in a glass of water, within 3 hours, it'll be 100% dissolved. So it's Mother Nature's way of protecting the carbon matrix that we formed to protect the spores, because as the bacteria is multiplying, you end up with, as you take the moisture out of it, because this is down to 11% moisture, the bacteria goes into what is called survival mode. And all of these that can create spores and other protective mechanisms, as long as we don't have the heat above 145 degrees Fahrenheit, they will regenerate themselves when you put it into your soil medium. So if you think of it this way, we take the really good quality compost, we put it into a machine that multiplies. So all of that, what was in the original stuff that went in, is multiplied every 20 minutes. So just do the math on that. It's millions, if not trillions of times more dense in the beneficial bacteria that you had to start with. We hold it in that small sphere. We transport it to Missouri. We transport it to California. It's really easy to transport, really easy to store. Just got to keep it dry. It can freeze. It can be hot. It doesn't make any difference. And then when you get it to your location, you just go out there and you sprinkle. And less is more. Don't put too much is the lesson, that we're going to be telling you, because there's so much in this that we're thinking, oh, it's compost, let's put a shovelful. Well, no, shovelful is way too much. It don't, and you're not going to hurt anything, but you're going to end up
it's just not necessary.
Not necessary. That's the deal. Mm-hmm. And so we started out, when I started making this product, we were going, oh yeah, well, if one shovelful is good, let's put 3. That's too much.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting because we have run different trials and we've had different experiments and stuff like that. And what we have found is less is more, being consistent in the application. And really what we've created here is shelf-stable biology. So a lot of the times in other products that we find on the market that might be in a liquid form, they are more volatile. They're more sensitive to heat, to light, to even just shelf life in general. And so, yes, of course, you can get some benefits using those products, but you have more of a user error can occur versus ours. It's really, really, really simple, not a lot of complicated measurements, and even just storing in general, the product will keep for months, for years, as long as, like you said, it's not exposed to water, because it is water activated. As soon as it's added into the soil and it touches that soil moisture, those microbes are going to start to wake up and start doing what they do. I guess we can also jump into any questions that you guys might have, because like we said before, Dan is just here for kind of like the introduction of the product and the process itself. So we'd love to hear some questions from you guys, and then he'll step away, and then I'll continue on with the presentation. So
I can jump on and help facilitate with some of those questions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they ask about the shelf life, and this is it's got humic and fulvic acid in it. Humic substances consisting of humic and fulvic acids. The shelf life in that is forever, like 70 million years. So it's not a problem. You got to keep it in a dry place. Don't put it where it's high moisture, high humidity.
Yeah, because you're going to activate it.
You're going to activate it. Yeah.
So I just brought one up on the screen. I have very high potassium and phosphorus, low nitrogen. Can I use, I'm guessing this product, even though
that's
these are
question.
Extremely high?
Yes, the microbes in there will digest the calcified phosphorus in your soil. And there's some microbes in there that are actually free, what they call free nitrogen fixers. So actinobacteria is one of them. Actinomycetes is another one. So there's different things, and they're in there at such a high level that they're going to free up what's in your soil. If you've been fertilizing for decades, you can stop that and just use this. It'll break it up for you. And the other thing too, it feeds the soil so much that the earthworms, and I'm guessing and I'm hoping that all you guys are fans of earthworms. I see some sites that don't like earthworms. I'm a firm believer of earthworms and healthy soil. The earthworm is the final organism that tells you your soil is balanced. And so we end up having just a phenomenal amount of earthworms in any soils that we put it in eventually. It might take a year, might take 2 years, and then you can start cutting back your volumes even more.
Yep.
We got about 3 questions regarding the sourcing of the dairy manure. Are the cows eating only unsprayed hay and feed? Go ahead and speak to that. And then do we need to be concerned about grazon?
Oh, what's grazon?
Grazon is it's a selective herbicide like a 2,4-D.
Yeah. Okay. I can talk to that because of our process. Okay. So put it back in the drum, get your mind going on that drum going. And we're multiplying everything at under 140 degrees Fahrenheit for a minimum of 36 hours. So in that process, any kind of
herbicide, chemical,
glyphosate,
anything like that, those microbes actually go ahead and digest all those terrible chemicals that our farmers are spraying the feed with. So unfortunately, the cattle are being fed sprayed crops, and they are being fed a very nutrient rich diet because it's all about production, it's all about milk quality. And so what ends up coming out on the other end is actually a very high quality manure. But then still, like you had pointed out, there will be some of those trace elements of those herbicides. Well, fortunately, with our process, with the multiplying of the beneficial microbes, those microbes can actually go ahead and digest those really bad herbicides that typically are found in other products. So that's something really exciting that we have found in our process.
I spent a year and a half going through Armory certification. It's certified for organic. Yeah. And we sent hundreds and hundreds of samples in to prove that we had none of the above problems that you had. And the other one, if there's people in the group talk about glyphosate residual, we bring it down to a not zero, but insignificant amount, 0.003. Yeah, like almost nothing. Yeah. So we do take care of that concern also.
Yeah.
Are animals attracted to it in the garden? Do they see it as a food source?
So actually, no, because there's no smell. So there's no smell and there's no dust. And so typically, if you think with dogs, because we've had all array. Where I've had people who they have turtles in their backyard, they have ducks, they have geese, they have rabbits, all these little critters. There's no smell and no odor, so we find no animals are actually attracted to rolling in it.
Just a minute. Well, there is.
No, there's an earthy smell.
No, the cats like it as to poop in.
Oh, Okay,
So-
so if you bought a bag and put it in a cat's litter box, yeah, okay, they could go in that.
The cats like it for as a litter box material.
But they won't actually consume it, and even if they did consume it, they're going to be 100% fine. So we do actually have individuals who have like horse farms where they have to fertilize their pastures. They will use earth medicine because then they don't have to worry about their horses grazing on it afterwards.
So I'm just going to read a question here. It says on the site that a 5-pound bag can cover.
A 5-acre yard. Yes. So I'm going to be getting into the application rate during the session moving forward. And so what we have a lot of gardeners who say live on a farm and then they have like a homestead of 5 to 7 acre yard. The individuals who are operating those size yards are doing it as like a spot treatment. So if you're fertilizing your raised garden beds, your rows, your flower beds, your flower pots, 5 pounds is going to be more than enough to cover a 5-acre yard. So I would have
not corner to corner. It's just specific plants within it.
This is called spot treatment.
Yes.
So
Okay.
so every single seedling that you're planting and you're sprinkling a little bit of product, it's going to work. If you were wanting to do corner to corner, your entire lawn,
Yes.
that sort of thing, that's a different product. That's a different application rate. But for actual what you guys are typically doing, you can
Okay.
spot
Just want to
treatment.
clear that up. Okay.
Wanted to ask this question here. Is this a form of biochar?
Yes and no. Okay. Biochar is a carbon matrix. What they do, how they achieve that is by burning a wood product and create these carbon matrix. And so they put that in the soil, and their claim is, and they're accurate, that the bacterias now have a home to go into to kind of find a nesting place, for lack of a better word. We've done that, but we have a carbon matrix, but we filled it plumb full of these bacterial spores and then coated it in a biofilm so that it can stay shelf stable. And so it's it's kind of the same product, but you're getting an empty house.
Yeah. Biochar is an empty house, a host for the bacteria.
Yeah.
We are providing you with the beneficial bacteria in a house already.
Yes. Yeah.
Does it cause burning on the plants if you apply too much?
So
No.
this is a great thing because our NPK rate is only a 1-to-1/4. So you're not going to have any risk of burning, which is great, especially for new gardeners and people who are just getting into the gardening sphere. I mean, it doesn't really matter how experts you are. We've all burned stuff. But we don't find any burning effects happen just because of the low NPK rate. One thing we will say though, like we touched on before, less is more in a sense of just sprinkling at around the base of your plants twice in the spring and then once in the fall after you go to harvest. And that's just because we find that gives you the best results and your money's worth in that sense. So we're really conscious of making sure that you're getting the full effect of the product without having to use too much.
Yeah, I saw another question here. A partial bag makes no difference. As long as it's in a dry place, you can put it back in the garden shed and forget about it.
Yeah.
Go back next year, the year after, it makes no difference. We've got stuff that's sat in our shop just as a test plot to see how long it would take for 2 years and come out just as clean. It's a little grayer color. It'll form a little white filament around the pellets.
And that's just the bacteria.
That's the bacteria's on the surface trying to, on a high humid day, starting to activate a little bit. It's a good sign is all it is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you sell your product in person, or do you have like a showroom?
No, so everything is online, through the Seed Time store to access our product. If you are in the Burley area, you're more than welcome to come by and buy some product in person if you'd like to do that. But yeah, typically we're just sold online.
Okay, another question, can you replace compost on your garden? Absolutely, 100%. You put it down at about a 20th of what you would put compost down, just because it's supercharged. It's completely full. Go ahead.
And the one thing too, not all compost is created equal.
Yeah, that's the other part.
And so, unless you were making your own compost and you trust the process and you're very meticulous, more power to you. But if you were going out and purchasing compost, we just have to caution you, not all compost is made equal. And we have had people who have given us horror stories of, bringing in different pathogens, weed seeds, different things into their gardens because they had a bad experience with some terrible compost. So.
With this, the weed seeds are not even mentioned because there's no way in the world that they can survive the chamber process. It will eat those weed seeds like candy. So there's nothing that comes through that you're not going to be, that's not beneficial for your garden.
I do see something about the code for 10% off. It's seed time. If it's not automatically showing up in the store, just type in seed time in the discount and you'll get that 10% off. So, question.
Do you use a spreader to put it down, and if so, on what setting?
If you want,
so on a spreader, you would do say a 1 to maybe 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet if you're wanting to walk. I personally, in my recommendation, is all hand spreading. If you're using a 5 pound to 7 pound bag, just because you can have more control over it. And as you'll see in the presentation, I call it salting your food. So you're just constantly, like how we season our food, that's what I'm doing with the earth medicine. And that's the best way I find to apply it. So you have more of a precise application rate.
Okay, another question here. Just curious about the process. Do the dairy deliver all the manure to you, or do you have to process? Okay, so we take the manure, the dairyman processes it on site, and then we go and test it to make sure it meets our standards. And then we bring it to our yard and then we finish it. So we do put our machines in it. We put water in it. We make sure that it's exactly to our specification before it enters the chamber. So we get it as far down the composting process externally as we can, and then finish it in the chamber.
Is the product suitable to rototill?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to break up or anything like that. But I personally would only apply it after you were done prepping your garden beds. I wouldn't rototill it in. It's not necessary. All you need to do is sprinkle it on this top inch of your soil and water it in. So just to, if that's something that you like to do, then. Yeah,
I'll just speak a little to that. Yeah, the idea of rototilling, the chance of you working it too deep below the aerobic zone in the soil is waste, because these are all aerobic bacteria. And so they like to have oxygen, and you have oxygen in the first 3 inches. So there's no benefits of tilling it in deep.
Your topsoil is your living soil on the very top inch of your
exactly
surface.
Yeah.
Can this product be refrigerated?
Yeah,
it wouldn't do anything.
Makes no difference. It's just like a little hard pellet. You can't break it in your hand. It's tough stuff.
Very cool. Well, Dan, I know that you had to go, and you guys are at a trade show right now as we speak. And so I want to be respectful of your time. And so I know there's more to this presentation. So if you want to go ahead and take off, you are welcome to do that.
Well,
and then we'll go ahead and shift it back from Q&A into the continued presentation. And then we'll jump back on with some more Q&A.
Thanks, everyone. And she knows as much as I do, just doesn't know how to grease the machine. So
yeah, that's good.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Awesome. And you can go ahead and continue on, Leah. Thank you so much for answering Q&A right in the middle, and for Dan being willing enough to just jump on in the middle of a trade show here. That's so great.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, those are all awesome questions, and I can't wait to get more into it at the end of the presentation. But we will just kind of jump into it. And I did see in the chat again, the promo code is seed time. So go ahead and enter in that promo code to get 10% off your order. But we will jump into, so the problem with conventional fertilizers. So why traditional fertilizers typically fall short? So they don't build the soil. This is something that we might know just from our own basic research, but chemical fertilizers usually provide just an immediate nutrients that are available to the plant, but they don't actually build the soil long term. They don't build the fertility of the soil long term. And how I always think of that personally is I always relate it back to the human body. And so if you want to think about a synthetic traditional fertilizer, it's like a steroid versus a product like Earth Medicine is going to be more like a whole food diet. So if you were a person trying to get healthy, what's going to give you more sustainable results? Is it going to be going to the gym and taking steroids, or is it going to be going to the gym and eating a whole food diet that is, rich in protein? Both are going to give you results, but which one's going to give you long-lasting results? Well, we all know the whole food diet and exercise is going to be the way to go long-term. So that's how I always differentiate between synthetic fertilizers and then soil building fertilizers like Earth Medicine. Another problem with traditional fertilizers that fall short is the leaching and runoff. And so what that means is we don't know how much nutrients a plant needs, right? We're always guessing when we're putting down these NPK fertilizers down, whether it's a 3-3-3 or 11-11-11. We're kind of guessing what the plant needs. And so the plant can only have the capacity to take up so much fertilizer, and whatever it doesn't need, it just runs off. The soil doesn't store it because it doesn't have any capacity to, because it doesn't have any organic matter. And so what you end up with this leaching and runoff effect that happens. And honestly, leaching just means wasted resources. So it wasted resources in your time, the time it took you to apply that fertilizer. It's wasted product, and then it's even wasted money because you're not getting the full value of your dollar into your soil because half of it got leached out into, out into the soil away from the plants, and it's no longer available. And again, too, leaching can end up in our water systems and cause different environmental harm. And then another reason why traditional fertilizers fall short is poor water retention. So if you are continuously just feeding the plant and never feeding the soil, you're going to end up having soil compaction. You're going to have a loss of organic matter. And those are all things that contribute to poor water retention. And something we have seen huge in using Earth Medicine is really good water retention. That soil moisture is really built up into the soil when people are using our products. And another way that I always think about this is with really good water retention, it's Mother Earth's way of protecting herself from a drought. So, Mother Nature is not used to having a drip system or an automatic irrigation system. Mother Nature is resilient and self-reliant. And so what she does is she builds up her soil so that she can hold water in it, so that if a drought period does happen, the plants have a whole reservoir of water available to them to get them through those dry periods. And so the reason why we've gotten away from that is because humans have constantly intervened with, with this plant feeding of these synthetic fertilizers, and then just, force feeding water onto it because we have irrigation farming, we have drip systems, we have that easy access. So again, it's just kind of our philosophy here at Earth Medicine is just mimicking Mother Nature as closely as possible, and just helping support that whole ecosystem. And then, so we'll go into the power of beneficial microbes in soil health. So what people might not know, or maybe all of you guys know, is that there is a lot of nutrients that's trapped in our soil. We don't have a nutrient problem in our soil. We have a microbe problem in our soil. So we don't have nutrient, like I know personally, have been programmed to believe that all of our soils are deficient in nutrients. But that's actually not the case. Our soils are not deficient in nutrients. Our soils are deficient in beneficial bacteria and fungi. Our soils are deficient in beneficial microbes. We have a ton of available nutrients in our soil that can feed the plant. What we're missing is the key to unlock it. And the key is microbes. And so when you are using beneficial microbes, you're going to be breaking down the organic matter into the usable nutrients. Your soil has nitrogen in it naturally. There's nitrogen in our air. Those are all available to feed the plant. What's missing is the microbes to be able to unlock it and make it available to the plant to feed it. And something that I find interesting is, I'm sure a lot of you plant in clay-based soils. Clay-based soil, is a soil that has loads of nutrients that's available in it. And that's because it has a very high surface level that holds I'm going to get a little technical, it holds a negative charge. And so that negative charge will attract positive charge, so cations, which are different nutrients like magnesium and potassium. So if you have the microbes available in that soil, it can make the connections between the nutrients that's in your soil to what the nutrients the plant needs. So how does earth medicine restore soil biology? Well, how my dad, Dan, had touched on, we are really just trying to make it extremely easy and for the plant to get all this available nutrients that's in your soil to the root structure. We are making it easy to apply, and we're making it easy access for the plant. That's really what we're trying to do. And in the aftermath or the byproduct of that is a really healthy soil system. So like we said in the beginning, we are using the power of dairy manure, and we're taking that and harnessing it into a really usable form. And, no barn required, right? We're giving a way for the common gardener, the person who, doesn't have access to regenerative farming, can't have livestock on their property, they don't have horses, they don't have access to that amount of cattle manure that would be available to feed their pastures or their gardens or anything like that. So we're basically trying to give you all the benefits as if you did have that in a really nice, clean, usable form that will feed your gardens naturally. So the benefits of using a product like ours, the benefits specifically of earth medicine, is you're going to have the simple application. You're getting the beneficial biology directly into the root zone. This in turn is going to improve soil aeration and structure and the water retention, like I mentioned before. And it's going to support that long-term soil fertility. And again, we are just trying to mimic Mother Nature. We're just trying to mimic what she does naturally, but just making it available to a lot more people who are not able to have access to that regenerative farm lifestyle. So now we're going to get into like the application rates, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about that. And so I'm going to try to touch on different ways that all of you can incorporate using earth medicine into your current operation. So my key philosophy for using earth medicine is just keep it simple but consistent. So I'm going to be touching on how to use it in your raised garden beds and in-ground planting, in your flowers, your shrubs, your trees, balcony gardens. We'll touch on amending the soil versus plant feeding the soil. And then we'll actually touch on market gardens and farmers, if there's any of you guys here in the audience today. So first off, with the raised garden beds and in-ground planting, you want to sprinkle earth medicine around the base of each of your seedlings when you are planting. So we all start our seeds inside, or most of us do. we get everything going. And then when we're transplanting those into our garden, we want to do a nice little sprinkle of earth medicine across the top before we end up watering them in. If you are doing row planting, so you're doing some rows of lettuce, carrots, whichever, just plant your seeds as normal, cover the top, and then sprinkle a little bit of earth medicine along the rows before watering. It's very, very, very simple. And all you need to do and when to apply it is twice in the spring. So early spring when you're planting your garden, late spring, early summer, and then in the fall once you have harvested your garden. Flowers, trees, shrubs. So if you have any like flowering bushes, any kind of perennials, flowers that you're using to attract pollinators into your garden, you can use earth medicine. It works amazing. Depending on the age of your perennials, that will determine how much earth medicine you want to use. And so if you have, say, like a flowering, say you have like a hydrangea bush that is 10 years old and the soil has never been amended, you're going to want to use a little bit more earth medicine. You want to use about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of earth medicine at the base of that plant, and just do that once. And then afterwards, all you would need to do is a little sprinkle. But it works. It works amazing for just re-energizing all of that microbial life that's in those areas, which then will help with those feeding the blossoms in those flowering bushes. Same with trees. If you're planting different trees around your yard, in the hole of the tree, put a little bit of earth medicine before planting, and then you can just top dress along the top, just, twice a year. Again, just helping to reactivate that beneficial biology in the soil so that all those nutrients are available to the plants. And then also too, if you have annuals, so like if you have flower pots, say you have a balcony garden and you have different flower pots, hanging flower baskets, absolutely add a sprinkle of earth medicine to the base of your flowers to help keep them blooming longer, attract more of those pollinators that we all love. It will really, really help. And then also too, it will help your flowers from not drying out if you end up going through a bit of a heat wave. Because we all know those hanging baskets can dry out really, really quickly if you have a really hot day and you aren't able to get home to water them. Okay, balcony gardens. So I would say earth medicine is absolutely essential if you are trying to do a balcony garden. I personally used to live in a big city. I used to live in Toronto and I had a balcony garden. And so I was working with very limited space and very limited soil. And when you are working in a container, you only have a finite amount of nutrients that's available in that container, right? It's not connected to the earth. So it's not getting a bunch of decomposed organic matter that happens when we do in-ground planting. We're in almost like a sterile environment when we're in a balcony garden. So adding earth medicine to your balcony gardens is going to be essential because it's going to help produce that nutrients and that energy that it takes to grow those vegetables when you're working with such a limited amount of soil. Now, amending versus plant feeding. So if you are amending your soil, so say you moved to a new place and they used chemicals and never took care of the soil, didn't do any crop rotations, nothing like that, you're going to want to help the soil out by amending it with earth medicine. And so this is going to be on a little bit bigger scale, but between 1,000 to 2,000 square feet, you're going to want to use about 5 to 7 pounds of earth medicine and just working it into the 12-inch soil profile before planting. And that will really, really help with amending that area so that when you're planting, you're going to see a transformation in your garden. For plant feeding, that is the top dressing on the surface, like I've mentioned, the salting of your food, doing it at the base of the plant. You just need to do that twice in the spring and once in fall for amending the beds before everything is done. And then market gardens and farms. If you are on a larger scale, please reach out to us directly, and you can ask a little bit about our commercial gardening product. We do have a whole commercial side of our business, and so we can absolutely help you guys out if you are looking for something of a larger scale and you're doing more of like the crop row farming or market gardens. And then application rate, I've talked to you guys about this. You only need to use it twice in the spring, once in the fall. Again, it's super easy. I personally, my plants get too big that I can't even continue on fertilizing them throughout the season. Like I can't even access them. So if you're doing it when you're planting your seedlings and then once again before the summer kind of begins, you're going to see really great results. And then after harvest, if you're wanting to winterize your beds, earth medicine applied then works amazing because it really helps with bringing everything back to life in spring. So again, just the salting of your food, just placing a little bit of product around the base of the plant before watering. It's that easy to get the product down into the root zone. That's all you need to do to activate it. And a little goes a long way. So like we talked about before, a 5-pound bag can spot treat up to a 5-acre yard. I've had multiple women who have these large acreages, and when they are just fertilizing their plants, like in their flowering plants up on their deck and around their porch area, down in their garden, planting in a massive garden. The 5-pound bag treats their entire area, and they just buy a new bag every single year. And just some product highlights. We are OMRI certified for organic use. Our NPK is only a 1-to-1/4, so no risk of burning. We are pure biology. That's the main difference between us and other compost-based products on the market. And we're simple, but we're very effective. And so just some results that we have seen in our market greenhouse. This area, you can see they didn't have any access to the nitrogen. They had nitrogen in their soil, but the plants weren't accessing it, which is causing for this reddish. They ended up just sprinkling a little bit of earth medicine to the base of the plant. And 4 weeks later, everything was growing healthy and happy. And the green up effect was huge. And honestly, all they had to do was just have those beneficial microbes access those trapped nitrogen that was bound up into the soil. Same thing with this, everything doubled in size just because the plants didn't have access to the nutrients that was available in that greenhouse soil mixture. I love to use flowers as like a good before and after, just because they're so effective. But this is going to be the exact same with your actual gardens. So with your vegetables, with your tomatoes, with your lettuces, all that kind of stuff. Planting these flowers, just a little bit of product around the base of the flowers, and 4 weeks later, they're quadruple in size because all that locked up nutrients that was in the soil was able to feed the plants and feed those blooms. So we have a lot of feedback from growers. I've had people who have balcony gardens, have raised garden beds where they have all this trapped nutrients that's in the soil. And so like if you're trying to grow carrots in a raised garden bed, carrots, any kind of root vegetable, takes a lot of energy to actually grow. And so like this customer here, she wasn't able to ever grow carrots for like 4 summers until she started using earth medicine. And the earth medicine was able to unlock that nutrients in her soil so that it could produce enough energy to actually grow really good root vegetables. And a lot of the testimonies that we get is that, it's easy to use, it's cost effective because you don't need to use a lot. A lot of people love that it's from a sustainable source of recycled materials. And, they love not having to worry about chemicals in their yards. Just some of the feedback that we typically get. But anyway, so if you guys are interested in trying the product, please head over to the Seed Time store. Use promo code SEEDTIME and grab yourself a 5 or 7 pound bag today while supplies last. You know, we have limited availability right now, so please make sure that you go ahead and snag a bag if you're wanting to try it out this season.
Yeah, for all of those in the chat that are looking to pick up a bag, Paul has pinned that link directly in the top of your chat. So if you just look up a little bit, you should be able to see a link that you can push to go ahead and purchase that product. Leah, thank you so much for that awesome description of the product. But as always, we have a bunch of questions that need to get addressed, and they keep coming in. There are so many. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the question, what is the right application for something that is larger, like a fruit tree or trees in my yard?
So it wouldn't be so much the size of the tree, more so the age of the tree. So if your tree is, 5 years plus, use about 1/4 of a cup of earth medicine. And then after that, honestly, just a little sprinkling every single season will be great. So it's almost like you hit it hard with an amending application. And then after each season, just do a nice maintenance sprinkle afterwards, is what we have found the most in orchards, in flowering trees, in fruit trees, anything like that seems to be the great application rate.
Awesome. Would you spread it in the winter and let the snow melt it into the soil?
You absolutely can. So you can, I would spread it into, spread it into late fall. Late fall, let your snowfall happen, let your winter happen. And then as everything starts to wake up, those microbes are going to wake up, they're going to release, and they're going to wake up your garden way quicker than if you didn't have any beneficial microbes in there beforehand.
Will it help break up my clay soil?
Absolutely. And your clay soil has so much nutrients in it. It's just locked up. It's just bound up. So if you are working with clay-based soils, it's going to work phenomenal. Again, if you have sandy-based soils, it's also going to work really, really well because sand actually has a lot of nutrients trapped in their particles as well. All that's missing is the beneficial microbes to access it.
Very cool. What kind of and how much of bacteria is in each bag?
So 2 of the main bacterias that we have is like the big family, which would be the pseudomonads and the acetobacteria. So one is like a nitrogen fixing bacteria, and then one is more of a general beneficial family of bacteria. And how much? We say it's like 10 times the biological potency of regular compost, but that's almost an understatement because of like what Dan had said in the beginning. When it is in our chamber, it is multiplying every 20 minutes. The microbes are multiplying every 20 minutes. So how I like to kind of compare it is like a probiotic. So we know if we ingest probiotics for our own health, for our own gut health, we're going to take a really high quality, high unit of probiotics to get the benefits. The same thing is with earth medicine. When you're adding it to the soil, you're getting a really high concentration of those beneficial microbes. So it's kind of like a probiotic for your soil.
Along those same lines, would this replace putting mycorrhizal fungi on my seedlings and transplants roots?
So you could that's a great bacteria. It's totally fine for using it. It absolutely can replace it. I personally just like to, more simple is better. And so I like to typically just use one product and kind of set it and forget it. So you can use it in conjunction with that current bacteria that you're using. It's going to help work with it and make it more efficient. But if you were wanting to swap it out for our product, that would be fine.
I think it's time for a little bit of a joke. What does mycorrhizal have in combination with me? How do I actually relate with that? We're both a real fun guy.
Oh gosh.
Sorry. Sorry. I'm a dad of 4. That's terrible. It's terrible. Moving on. How does this compare to Milo Granite?
Um, Milo Granite, is that a different kind of product? Is that made from human waste, or what is that?
That is a different kind of pelleted product made from human waste.
So how it would compare is no smell, no dust. And it's just a different source of materials to get beneficial microbes. So, if the smell of those kind of products don't bother you, perfect. More power to. If you like it, use it. But for a lot of my customers, I do find they love that there's no mess and no smell.
Awesome. This is a little bit of an interesting question. Will it get rid or deter dandelions in my yard?
I love dandelions. They're a very medicinal plant, so you can harvest them without spraying them. You can make amazing different tinctures with it. Actually, my mom makes an amazing dandelion salve that helps with arthritis and inflammation of the joints. And so we have this dandelion salve that she makes for gardening hands that get really, really sore. So it's not going to deter any kind of dandelions. When you have a balanced soil system, weeds don't want to grow in it to begin with. So there is that. Weeds popping up in different crops is just a sign of a deficiency. So the more that you have a balanced soil, the better you're going to have with different kinds of unwanted vegetation popping up. But in particularly, it's not going to strategically attack dandelions in general, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That lends itself to a question of other micronutrients and even macronutrients in this product. You have an NPK value of a 114. Do you know if there's a value of calcium, sulfur, anything else in this product?
Yes, there is. And I can actually, our calcium is a 1.9%. Our sulfur is a 0.43%. So we have a whole host of micronutrients and macronutrients that is in our product. But again, your guys' soil has all this. Your soil has it all. It's just trapped. So versus trying to doctor it and try to guess what your plants need more of, if you do take care of the soil is going to take care of your plants and give it the perfect amount of those macro and micronutrients available. Oh, human waste. It's not human waste. We were just comparing it to a product that does use human waste. We're only using cow manure.
Milo Granite is that product that is a pelleted waste product from waste treatment facilities. This is not that.
And I did see if the 10% code isn't working on the website after this, I'll go ahead and just make sure it's all working on my back end of stuff. So keep trying to order throughout the day. I'll make sure that link is working. I'll go in and check that out just in case something might happen on my back end.
Great. Would this be a good additive to help accelerate compost piles?
Yeah, I absolutely have used it in that capacity to help kick off the biology in compost piles. I just personally find the actual use of using it at the time of planting or after planting is a better use of my effort and the product itself. Can you dump a bag of earth medicine on compost piles? 100% you can. I have personally done it. It activates and gets everything working in your compost pile. But, it's not a cheap product. It's not one of the most expensive products, but it's not a cheap product. So I always want to ensure that you're using it in, the best usable form to get the best bang for your buck.
Very good. What is the pH of the product?
So the pH is a little bit high. It's an 8.6. But since you use such a small amount of it, it's not going to negatively impact your soil if you already are working with alkaline soils. If you are finding that you have a garden that is testing out very high alkaline, I would suggest get your water tested, because a lot of the times high alkaline water can be the culprit in soils that are high in alkaline. If you are working with really acidic soils and you want to help bring that pH up a little bit, like say your soil is like a 5, using earth medicine is absolutely going to help get you to that more baseline of that 7.
All right. I have a question up here from Kelly.
Mhm.
Is a sprinkle a teaspoon, a tablespoon, or something else? Define a
So
sprinkle.
yeah, absolutely. I guess because everybody has different salting of their food method.
Mhm.
But I would say a tablespoon. A tablespoon of product. So here's our 5-pound bag here. I will a lot of the times even have like a tablespoon measuring utensil in here, just to make it easier for the more consistent dosing.
Very cool. All right, this is a great question. Hey, can I continue to use the earthworm castings, minerals, Neptune's fish emulsion in addition to this? I already have a arsenal of soil fertility products.
Yes, absolutely. What is just going to happen is everything's going to work much more efficiently. So we've always said earth medicine is a great additive to a current program. So a program being like a fertilizing program. So if you have sort of a regime that you put in, use earth medicine in conjunction. It's going to help everything work more efficiently, and those other products are obviously going to be able to stretch out and go further. So you get, again, more bang for your buck, which would be great. I do have a lot of people who kind of started out like you, where they have all these different products and they eventually started to weed out the ones that they just didn't find necessary anymore, and then pair it with earth medicine and, maybe one other product that they continuously like to use for growing certain things.
Very, very cool. There's a question here. Can this product be used in aquaponics?
So with aquaponics, I do have another product. It's called the Soilless and Leca. And so I have used it in plants that are used just grown in water. And it works, you know what I mean? Like it absolutely works. You're getting the beneficial microbes with those into those different kind of like, vertical growing towers, things like that. My only caution is that I haven't tested all of the systems out there. So I can't say for certain that it's not going to plug up, say, a filter system or something in your current operation. So I don't really feel comfortable, advising on that because I don't want anybody, running into that issue. And then 2, a lot of the times with the aquaponics, you're just feeding them straight up nutrients, right? There's no organic matter in the actual base of the plant because you're just growing in water. But I have customers who have like grow towers that use earth medicine in conjunction to the liquid fertilizer that they have to use. And I did see a question from Karen. She said, can it be used on houseplants? 100%. Your houseplants are going to love it. Like through the moon, love it, love it, love it. Because when's the last time you put compost into your houseplants? You know what I mean? Like a compost-based product into your houseplants. Probably never. The houseplants you can use all year round, do a little sprinkling, water it in, use it every, 6 weeks. Earth medicine and houseplants, they're great partners.
Awesome. Last question here, and then I think it's time to give away another bag of earth medicine, right? All right. Hey, can you make tea out of earth medicine for the seedlings?
Yeah. So again, the Soilless and Leca product that we have, It can be made into like a tea tincture that can be used as spraying on the foliage of product. Absolutely, you can totally use that. The biology though is just most active within the first 4 hours. So just to kind of give you a time frame, a window, you want to use it within that 4 hours. Give it about 30 minutes. So even if you bought a bag of this and you let it sit in some water, let it sit for about 30 minutes and then use it within that 4 hour range if you want to try it that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leah. And the word is going to be earth. 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 Start typing earth, and hopefully you will win this drawing. We are really excited to offer this to you. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up this screen here, and hopefully it'll work the first time with our giveaway tool. Share, setting earth. 129, 131. Only a few people left on, apparently, trying to do this. Okay, there we're jumping up to 204 in there, 228, 31. And let's draw. Tick, 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 tick. MJC. Did MJC win the other night? I don't know. There was another, no, it was AZ something, but MJC, congratulations on your 5-pound bag of earth medicine. We'll be getting that to you shortly. If you can, please email support@seedtime.us. Include your name, your number there that you just won, and then your address, and we'll be getting that shipped out to you as soon as possible. So email support@seedtime.us. And for all those who are asking, the link is there. There's a 10% discount. If that isn't working, we will get that up into you shortly. We're going to have that really ready to go, because it looks like a number of you have already gone and purchased your bag of earth medicine. Some of you are a little concerned about, hey, this is going to last forever. I only have a container. You know, it will probably not last as long as you think, because you're going to be so excited about the results, and you're just going to keep using it on everything, maybe even sprinkle some across the fence to your neighbor's yard to make sure that they're growing well and have to mow their lawn a little bit more. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, Leah, for coming and doing this presentation, for sponsoring the Seed to Harvest Summit, which hopefully a lot of people have found to be very, very helpful for them. We have a lot of sessions left today. We've got 3 more sessions left today that you're not going to want to miss. Today's theme is all about controlling bugs, insects, pests, diseases within your garden. So coming up, we're going to be having Brian Lowe visit us, as well as others. So you're not going to want to miss companion planting for success. And then after that, Jill Reagan, she's going to be talking about when and if and what sort of biological insecticides should be used, and if you should be using them in your garden. So you're not going to want to miss the sessions later on today. But thank you guys so much for joining us. And thank you, Leah, again, for coming and doing the presentation. And I always want to ask, do you have any other last words for us?
I just want to say thank you guys so much for being so interactive and all your questions. This is just amazing. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you, everyone. And yeah, go ahead to Seed Time store, place your order, tell your friends about it. We're really excited for you guys to all try our product.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Leah. And we look forward to seeing you guys in just a couple of hours. We're going to be live at 3 p.m. Central Time. Translate that to wherever you're located. Thanks. We look forward to seeing you next.